we believe that she got medicine that was laced with fentanyl at the time, and it was the hardest day of our life to see her back in the hospital again. But she overdosed so badly that nothing could bring her back. My name is Connie Koch. Hear my story. Well, life was very nice and beautiful when we were in our homeschooling days. It was a very sheltered life. I was staying home with the kids and enjoying being with them. And my husband was working, and we were just being a team, so that I could stay home and enjoy raising the kids. When Lindsay was young, she was very high-spirited and really fun. We did realize that she was having a little trouble with ADHD, but other than that, she was just a fun-loving child and very excited and just having a lot of fun and just a lot of activity. And as long as she was busy, she was very happy and enjoying life, and just a very high-spirited, beautiful child. Things began to turn for Lindsay when we had to take her out of homeschool and put her into regular school. And we didn't realize at the time that she was dealing with anxiety. And so, unfortunately, she really fell hard in her 6th grade year when she moved into middle school. At that time, she was bullied, and it really took a turn for the worse for her self-esteem. And she began to self-medicate at that time, and I had no idea she was really doing that. The very first time she self-medicated, to a large extent, I had just given her some medicine for ADHD, but I didn't know that she had alcohol in the house, and she drank a serious amount of alcohol with the ADHD medicine, and that was our very first trip to the ER with Lindsay, and she was not even 13 yet. And so as she would self-medicate, I would try to get her medicines from the doctors, but she would say the doctor's medicines made her feel worse. With that, she just began to unravel. Things began to unravel, and she would find harder drugs, and I really didn't know that those were available and so readily available that she could get her hands on them. And before we knew it, she was really dealing with some hard drugs. So we thought, okay, the very best thing we can do is pull her out of that environment. So we sent her to a Christian-based residential care in Orlando. And it was a very good program, and it was very helpful, but it just wasn't enough for Lindsay. And unfortunately, when she got out, she began to immediately get into those old habits again. So within all that time period, she met a friend, and then they became engaged, and she wanted to get married, and they had a child together. And we thought, well, she's going to have something really positive to live for. And for a while it worked, and she did stay pretty well, but before we knew it, she was spiraling out of control again with drugs. And as much as she tried to be well for her son, she just wasn't able to do it. Somehow it just didn't work out the way we all had hoped, and she ended up overdosing, and it was the hardest day of our life to see her back in the hospital again. And we had hoped that she would pull through it, but unfortunately she went to maybe a drug dealer she had been to before and tried to get some Xanax, but she overdosed so badly that nothing could bring her back. They tried to work on her so much. They gave her Narcan several times. They tried to do the electric shock. They tried to do everything they could, and there was just no use. We believe that she got medicine that was laced with fentanyl at the time, and no matter how hard they worked, they had to put her in the ambulance and just get her on life support as soon as possible. So they kept her on life support at the hospital in ICU, and we were there for 9 days, and she was struggling for her life, but she never regained consciousness from the day that she overdosed. And so nine days later, they decided that all the experts told us that, she's not going to recover from this, and she has full brain death at this point, and we can't bring her back. So we're going to have to let her go. But I just want to say that God really helped prepare us for that in many ways, because before that happened, only days before the tragic overdose occurred, she said, Mom, I got my new license, my new driver's license, and I just wanted to let you know I'm a donor. And I turned around and I thought, why are you telling me this at your age, 21 years old? We don't need to be worrying about that right now. And I remembered when I was at the hospital and it came time to make those decisions, those very hard decisions. My other kids were in the room when she said that, and they said, Mom, remember, she said she wants to be a donor. And I said, I know she said that. That's right. She really did. So we went that direction. And so Lindsay was able to help others have the gift of life, even through her tragedy. So with it in mind that God has always been there through every moment, even the difficult times. When I first found out that Lindsay was pregnant and going to have a baby and everything, I was just terrified and thought, how are we ever going to manage this? How is this going to work when, you're still struggling with drugs and what we're going through? But God kept the baby safe. He had everything work out that the baby would be fine. And to this day, I'm raising Jackson for my daughter, and I couldn't be more blessed to be able to do so because he's a part of heaven for me on earth. He's a little part of my daughter, and he is just a blessing every day to our whole family. He brings us joy every day and connects us back to his mom, who now is our guardian angel in heaven, and she's with Jesus. And so every day that I look at him and we pray together, I remember he's here for a reason, and it's his turn and his purpose in life to bring joy and healing to the rest of us and to many more, I'm sure, throughout his life. And I know that God has a great plan and purpose for his life. So if I could talk to any young adult out there who's struggling with addiction or self-medicating because maybe you have some emotional illness or some emotional things that you're dealing with that you just don't know how to cope with, I would say I really understand your pain and your struggle because that's what my daughter was dealing with. And because we lost her, I want to encourage you to not self-medicate because there's going to be the right medicine, there's going to be the right answer. Just don't give up. Keep looking for it. Ask for help in any way you can, and don't give up on yourself because God has a great plan for you. I'm a mom of somebody who struggled like you did, and I just would implore you to get the help that you need. You're worth it, and you mean everything to your family. You mean everything to your friends, and please don't leave them. Stay strong, and don't ever give up.